So this is your boy Bri. We're finalizing the connections, and we've got everything done here on the engine, 3 through 5. We've got them all done, all on the top and all on the bottom. And in order to access them, you have to pull a lot of these pipes off and brackets. Everything is put back on. And let me give you a little overview here. As you can see, all the lever arms have been pulled, all the bosses have been pulled, all the bushings have been changed. We even put RTV on top of the threads to make sure no nut will back off even after you torque them. And the situation is when you're doing something like that, a job like this, I was just discussing this with my coworker. When you do a job like that and you're doing one side, they're doing the other, it's very important that you overlap your work. So if I'm torquing, say, all mine, and I say I'm going from 12 to 6, it's important that I go over a couple to verify I didn't miss one. It's very easy to do that if you don't overlap. You have to overlap, and you have to have a partner that's not, how do I put this, offended if you go over their work a little bit. Like, I don't get offended if someone goes over on my side. It's okay, it should all be good. Because at the end of the day, that's a sign of a true professional, when you don't have an issue with someone checking your work. You know, only the truth doesn't mind being questioned. Other things, okay, we don't even have to get into politics, but at the end of the day, if you can't question it, Houston, we got a problem. But at the end of the day, we're looking at this and we're saying everything is finalized, everything is coming to a completion. We've done it right, we've done it right, we've done it right. Because if you're not doing it right, you're just not doing it. You're fooling yourself. So make sure you do things strong. Make sure you start strong and you finish strong. That's important. And at the end of the day, you've got to do a job that you want to be proud of. You want to do a job that you can look the customer square in the eye and say, we did everything we could do. We helped, and we did everything. We helped you out. We did everything we could. We did a professional job because you paid a professional price. Let's be honest. But as promised, I want to show you down here in the bottom of this package, because this is just part of it, but let me show you. You can see down there, that's the swamp that we're dealing with in sludge, okay, that we would have had to deal with if we didn't put this tarp system down. And let me tell you something, the tarp system has saved me at least, I want to say at least 10 to 12 times I would have been down there. Now let me have a little conversation here with you. If I would have not put the tarp system down, just myself alone, let's just say the average is a half hour to an hour looking for something down in that swamp. Let's not even discuss the level of just disgust and the level of frustration. We'll just call it frustration when you're down there and you're trying to do a job right, and you have to swim through a swamp in order to go find the parts. So this is a situation when you say to yourself, you made the right call. You made the right call to spend the hour up front and put the tarp down. You made the right call that said, I foresee what would happen because of the last one. We made the course correction, and we said to ourselves, we're not going to go down there again this time. We're just not going to do it. But so we spent an hour, we invested an hour putting this tarp down. Now I want to say an hour, but it may have been a little less. But I'm just going to call it an hour. So on the average, let's just say I know I at least stopped counting at 12 pieces when they fell. Now you can say, oh, you're butterfingers. You can say that. But I'm just going to tell you something. Unless you've done this job, you might want to hold your tongue. These parts are small. They're tiny. A little bit of washers that are thinner than a sheet of paper, some of them. And you're trying to handle this stuff that's been oil soaked and everything else. So before you get up there and you pick up a rock out of the creek bed and throw it at somebody's glass house, just make sure you understand you're living in a glass house yourself. So let's not do that. You know the old saying, people that live in glass houses shouldn't. You got it. Throw stones. So at the end of the day, before you judge me and you look at my work, I want you to think to yourself, they made the right call with the tarp. I mean, there's no one can deny that. This will be standard practice for me going forward, just so you know. Not just on a DLE, but on every engine I work on. Unless that package is crystal clear underneath and clean, where it looks like the Pete Hughes from Moab, Utah just painted it, I'm going to put the tarp system down. But the other thing I wanted to say was, so we're wrapping this up and we're getting done. You want to do things with a quality job, and you want to do things that you can be proud of. We talked about that. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to look at something and say, how can we improve this? How can we move forward on the next one? If we're training somebody or whatever, and go forward. And the tarp system is just going to be part of that. On the average, I think I dropped 12 pieces. I think I did. So if we're going on the average, let's just call it a half hour. You got to look a half hour. And I'm going to promise you, there's some things you're just not going to find. They say the bilge monster, because that's a bilge down there. The bilge monster just eats it up. It could land on a pipe. It could land on a flange. It could land in a small crevice. There may be some things that you just ain't going to find, which would be a problem because you got to order those parts in. If it's just a standard bolt, you can get away with it. You can replace it. But on the average, let's say I dropped 12 items. That's a minimum. And I emphasize minimum with a capital minimum. 6 hours looking for things. You see what I mean? So that's just me. Now my co-worker over there, I think he dropped a few things too. So we're talking another, however many hours of looking. And I wouldn't say that, but we just went through this on the last engine, and we were down there for hours looking for parts and searching for things, cleaning the package, doing all these things. So this isn't an indictment on anybody working on these engines that drop something. It's not what we're looking to do. What we're looking to do is say, how can we correct that so that it's sort of a situation like this. If you have something that says, oh my God, I can't drop this, I can't drop this, I can't drop nothing, it almost causes you to drop something. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It almost causes you to drop something because you're actually heightened your nervousness on making sure you don't drop something. But once you have the tarp system in the tarpaulina, your level of anxiety goes down. You just say to yourself, I'm not trying to drop nothing, but if I do, and I'm going to tell you something, I seen it at least 12 times yesterday and the day before. It captured the piece, it landed softly on there, not because it's a hard, rigid surface, but it's a canvas, so it kind of just absorbed the energy when it landed. But enough about that. We're getting done, we're getting done, we're getting done, and we're getting it done right. That's the most important thing. But this is your boy Bry. We're wrapping up. It's a Saturday. We're getting that long limousine dollar because we're getting time and a half. And we're trying to make sure that we do it right, okay? And that's, oh, hold on a minute. Let me show you my sponsor. Today my sponsor is NOS. And if you like the Sonic Sour, this would be the one you want to try. Because let me tell you something, when you're working long hours and you need a little pick-me-up, this is the situation right here, NOS, NO2. But at the end of the day, this is the type of job when it's got so many little pieces in it, you'd almost want to go down to the local, backyard Eddie Road or wherever downtown, and you want to find a couple tweakers and say, come tear this thing apart. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of little pieces. And they'd be up all night pulling these parts off. But we did it right. We're professionals, and we're going to get on to the next one, people. This is your boy Bry. I got to get on down the road. We're getting ready to cycle this engine and stroke it, make sure, and that's the important part. Make sure you hook a hand pump up and you improve all your work, because here's the deal. You could put a little bracket like this on, right here. If you don't put that bracket on right and you get it in the wrong orientation, you flip it around, it could wind up hitting something down here. As you see, the clearances are very tight. So if you get that in the wrong orientation or whatever, you could have a problem. So it's very important to put the hand pump on it and to verify that you're going to cycle it through its full range of motion. You're going to listen, you're going to watch, and you're going to make sure you don't feel nothing vibrating or crunching or making a noise. And that's going to prove that says, when we fire this baby up, we did it right, people. We did it right. This is your boy Bry. I got to go.